Now with the latest ITV News in London with Duncan Golestani.
Tonight, police tell a man whose sons were killed 4 years apart their murders were linked. Ahmed and Junior Jar were both targeted in Newham. No one has been charged in either case.
Abu, you need to come back home. I said, why? He said, it's bad news. I said, why? He said, Junior is down on the floor.
Also on the programme, the 21-year wait for a home, one woman's desperation at London's housing crisis. Sailing to success, the Londoner helping Team GB to their best day of the games so far, and...
I can't remember how Who Loves You goes.
Yeah.
Who loves you, pretty baby?
Oh my goodness!
So good.
Yeah, sing it, come on.
Oh God, I'm rocking out now. Sorry, everyone. Okay,
Oh, what a night. Sally, Frankie and the Four Seasons. Good evening. Abu Bakr Jar always suspected his son's murders were linked. They were killed 4 years apart in Newham, just yards from each other. Now, police have confirmed they believe their murders are connected. Speaking for the first time to our reporter Ria Chatterjee, the father of Ahmed and Junior talked about the agony of losing two sons and not knowing why.
This small memorial on the street requires some upkeep.
This photo is just a week before Junior died.
But it's nothing compared to the emotional maintenance that's required when both your sons have been stabbed to death.
And this one is Junior's colleagues.
Abu Bakr Jar goes over the phone call he received in April about his son Junior.
Abu, you need to come back home. I said, why? He said, it's bad news. I said, why? He said, Junior is down on the floor. I said, I'm not sure he can make it. There was police around. He was in a tent. I couldn't see him until a couple of days that I went to see his corpse in a mortuary. That was devastating.
The second phone call about a murder in the family, the second visit to a mortuary, the second round of waiting for justice. Ahmed Jar was killed 4 years ago. He was 21, and Mr. Jar sees some similarities in his son's murders.
They were killed on the same month. They were killed within the same hour.
We definitely think there may be a connection in the group, wider group involved in both murders, one in 2017 and obviously one in April of this year. It is difficult. There are difficult investigations by young, predominantly males, who are very streetwise. And so the investigation is protracted and complicated for those reasons. But murder investigations we don't give up on.
Junior was approached by someone driving this Land Rover when he was shot and then stabbed. It had a false number plate at the time and was later found burnt out.
Do you worry that justice might not be served for either of them?
Well, I'm worried about that because for like my eldest son is now going, this is the 5th year.
Junior was 18 years old. That means he was 14 when his older brother died. Ria Chatterjee, ITV News.
A convicted terrorist was let out of prison despite talking openly about committing jihad and expressing a desire to kill the Queen. Sudesh Aman stabbed 2 people on Streatham High Road 10 days after being released. The police had wanted him to remain locked up. Earlier, at the inquest into his death, the governor of Belmarsh suggested a man revelled in his notoriety. Katie Barnfield was at the hearing.
In the red jacket is convicted terrorist Sudesh Aman, less than 2 weeks after his release from prison. Inside a Poundland store on Streatham High Road, he buys 4 bottles of iron brew, kitchen foil and brown tape. These are the items he would use to make the fake suicide belt he was wearing 2 days later when he stabbed 2 people before being shot by the police. At the inquest into his death today, jurors were told about a long list of incidents while he was inside Belmarsh prison for terror offences, which made officers afraid he could plan an attack if he was let out. The jury was shown a letter from the Metropolitan Police to the Belmarsh prison governor asking for Sudesh Aman's release to be delayed. It said he'd been trying to radicalise other prisoners, had expressed a desire to kill the Queen and regret that he hadn't been the one to kill Lee Rigby. It also said one of his close associates inside the prison was Hashim Abedi, the brother of the Manchester Arena bomber. The letter went on to say it remains the view of the senior investigating officer that Aman poses a significant risk to the public on his release. Jenny Lewis, the governor of Belmarsh prison, told the inquest that Aman was still released as planned because there was not enough time to refer the concerns to a panel who had the power to add time to his sentence. On the same day he bought the items for his fake suicide belt, Sudesh Aman was filmed going into another shop where the jury were told he spent time looking at knives, all the while under police surveillance. 2 days later, he would return to that same shop to steal the blade he used to carry out his attack. Detective Chief Inspector Luke Williams told the jury that if police had found the belt he had made, it would have been grounds for his arrest. But his room at a local bail hostel was never searched. Instead, he remained free from prison to attempt the violence that officers had feared all along. Katie Barnfield, ITV News.
Just 2 months after Superintendent Robin Williams successfully appealed her conviction for possession of a child abuse video and was reinstated as a police officer, the Metropolitan Police are trying to sack her again. Martin Stew is here now. Martin, another twist in this story. What more do we know?
Well, I think to understand, we've got to go back to 2019. That's when Superintendent Robin Williams, one of the most high-profile black officers in the Metropolitan Police, often put forward for media interviews, fronting things like the policing of the Notting Hill Carnival. Well, at the end of 2019, she was convicted of possessing an indecent image of a child on her phone. Now, during the trial, the jury were told that the message had been sent to her by her sister on WhatsApp, and that she hadn't seen the video. The jury, though, didn't believe that she was unaware the video existed, and as a result of that, she was sentenced to 200 hours of community service and dismissed from the police force. Then we roll forward to the beginning of this year, which is when she successfully appealed against that decision to be dismissed and was reinstated and taken back in to be a serving superintendent and a serving police officer. Then we come forward to today, the latest twist. What's happened? Well, the Metropolitan Police want to carry out legal action to basically permanently sack Superintendent Robin Williams. They say that the failure to report that video potentially put the child in the video at future risk. They say that her actions tarnish the reputation of the police force. And they also say that by being able to overturn those appeals, it potentially sets a precedent to undermine misconduct things in the future. In the last few minutes, I spoke to the association who are supporting Superintendent Williams. They say that she's had 35 years of distinctive service within the force and that they will support her in challenging this appeal if it goes ahead. OK, Martin, thank you. A man has been stabbed outside West India Quay DLR station. The station is closed while specialist officers carry out inquiries. The man has been taken to hospital where his injuries are not thought to be life-threatening. Police are appealing for the public's help to find a missing 12-year-old boy from Brent. Leopold Bennett Budkinov hasn't been seen since 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. When he left his home in Kilburn, he was wearing a stripy blue T-shirt, army-style camouflage trousers and no shoes. The Met say Leopold was upset at the time of his disappearance and does not have any money, a phone or means of getting around. And scientists at a top London university are working to find out when is best to give pregnant women their COVID vaccine. More than 600 women will be recruited for the trials at St George's University. It's hoped the research will help reassure pregnant women that the jabs are safe.
We know that during pregnancy, women have an increased risk of severe COVID-19, increased hospitalisation, intensive care admission, increased mortality. And so it's really important to identify how to best protect them.
In a little over an hour, family and friends of Bieber Henry and Nicole Smallman will hold a minute's silence to remember the sisters on what would have been Nicole's 29th birthday. They were murdered in a random attack last June in Friant Country Park by a man who thought he had made a pact with the devil. Rachel Brown is there for us this evening and she just sent us this.
It's been just over a year now since the sisters Nicole Smallman and Bieber Henry were killed in this park by Daniel Hussein on Bieber's birthday. It was a senseless and random attack driven by a contract with the devil in which he believed if he attacked women, he would win the lottery. There's no denying that this murder was chilling and shocking, but tonight is about the vigil. It's about remembering Nicole and Bieber and their lives. Family, loved ones and friends will be gathering behind me, including Nicole and Bieber's mum, Mina. But also women across the community will be coming down to remember women who have also been victim of male violence.
Well, as much as our name is Reclaim These Streets, the women that live in this community need to reclaim their park. They need to be able to be here, and it's where they've held their kids' birthday parties. It's where Bieber and Nicole were having their birthdays. You know, we need to be publicly safe in public spaces. We need to be able to live happily and live loudly.
At 7:30, there'll be a minute's silence to remember Nicole and Bieber, and people will light candles. The family are encouraging people who can't come down tonight to do the same in their homes.
Rachel Brown in Wembley there. Next tonight, the housing crisis in the capital is nothing new. There are currently more than 30,000 people in Newham alone on the waiting list for social housing. One of those is Margaret Eristy. She's spent the last 21 years living in B&Bs and hotels, waiting for a permanent home. Today, she was moved from her current hotel with no certainty on her next accommodation. Rags Martel has been speaking to her.
On hold for a home.
Please say the name of the service you require. Speak clearly after the beep.
Homeless prevention.
Margaret Eristy has been doing this for 21 years. How long have you been without a home?
21 years. So I've moved over 45 times in 21 years. This is bed and breakfast. This is temporary accommodation, hotels, and I've never been offered not one permanent accommodation. Never. Which I think is quite disgusting.
Margaret has 11 children. For the last 5 weeks, most of her family have been in this hotel, but today they've been told to move out.
We have to take our belongings out of this room and put them on the street. But because there's a newborn baby, we can't stand on the street.
Do you know where you're going to sleep tonight?
No, I don't. I don't know where I'm going to sleep. We're just picking up from one place to another. My children have never had no education. They've never been able to sit an exam. I've got some talented children, and yet we can't find nowhere to have a stable life. It's unfair.
There is nobody available to take your call right now. Please call back at a later time. Goodbye.
Meanwhile, her calls to the council go unanswered. How does that make you feel? You try to make the call and there's no one there?
It's frustrating because that's what Newham Council do. And now I've just got to sit down here and keep calling, which means you're using that your credit, if you've got credit, you're using that your phone bill to call Newham Council because nobody can't be bothered to just pick up the phone. Homeless prevention.
The calls continued all afternoon. Tonight the family remain all packed up and nowhere to go. Rags Martel, ITV News, Newham.
Well, in the last few minutes, Newham Council have come back to us and said there are thousands of people on our waiting list and we are doing everything we can to ensure we have good quality, genuinely affordable housing. Following your inquiry, we will be making contact with Margaret Eristy to see if there's further support we can offer. We'll keep you updated. Still to come, we've got the weather forecast, plus...
Oh God, I'm rocking out now. Sorry, everyone.
Sally's back in full voice as she joins the Jersey Boys quartet. To Tokyo now, and it's been another medal-filled day for Team GB's athletes at the Olympics. There were 8 podium finishes, making it the most successful day of the Games so far. Leading the charge, Thames Ditton's Dylan Fletcher, who won gold alongside his crewmate Stuart Bithell in the sailing. After the nail-biting race, the pair described the feeling of being Olympic champions as mind-blowing. Our correspondent Simon Harris has the latest from Japan.
Dylan Fletcher and Stuart Bithell used to be rivals, but for this Olympics they teamed up. It turned out to be a good call, if you like nail-biting finishes. In the men's 49ers, with the line in sight and the Germans bearing down on them, Team GB had to give way.
They have to do a bear away on the line. Is the speed with them? Can they carry it all the way to the finish? And right on the line, Great Britain win the medal race.
The skipper from Thames Ditton and his crew are Olympic champions. At home, his mum was left shaken by the whole experience.
We were in this shaking position yesterday morning, and then we had to stop shaking and then get shaking again this morning, and I haven't stopped. I keep blubbing all over the place.
In the velodrome, there was disappointment for Harlow's Laura Kenny. Team GB was unable to defend the team pursuit title, losing out to Germany. So 4-time gold medal winner Kenny had to settle for silver. But Tokyo isn't over for her yet.
Coming up, Lucrezia.
On the track, there was heartbreak for Londoner Adam Jamili, who was barely out of the blocks in the men's 200 metres when he pulled up. His Olympic hopes shattered by a hamstring injury. For those Olympians with something to celebrate, the welcome home parties have begun. In Maidenhead, hundreds turned out to cheer their local hero Tom Dean after his double triumph in the pool.
He is dead on his feet. He's just like, oh, we're pulling into the road, I can go to bed. And it's like, no, you can't.
I had no idea this was waiting for me, guys. Thank you so much. It means the world, and these are special, but this is more special. Honestly, I can't even begin to put in words. I thought that watch party was quite something, and this is like a level above. Thank you so much, guys, and these medals are yours just as much as they are mine, so thank you.
And there's nothing like a winner to challenge everyone else's ambitions.
He's inspired me to get better at running. Not quite swimming, but he's definitely inspired me, yeah.
I already wanted to go into the Olympics before, but he made me want to do it even more.
Gold medalist and Olympic champion, Dylan Fletcher and Stuart Bithell.
In Tokyo, the masks couldn't hide the delight on the faces of Britain's newest gold medal winners. Simon Harris, ITV News.
Well, another double medalist fresh off the plane is triathlete Alex Yee. Brockley's finest added to his individual silver medal by anchoring home Team GB in the mixed event over the weekend, all on his Olympic debut. Now back home, he's been reflecting on his achievements, telling me what he's going to be doing next and what it's like being a role model. I spoke to him a little earlier. Alex, welcome back. You've been in the country less than 24 hours. How are you feeling?
Yeah, hi. Thanks for having me, first of all. It feels a bit bizarre to be back in the UK after such a whirlwind, but I'm really pleased to be back. I got to see my parents really briefly at the airport, which is an extremely proud moment for me. And yeah, just really special to share those moments. And back here, I had a huge welcome party with my girlfriend and a lot of my friends. So I'm feeling really loved, which is really nice.
You're a gold medalist and a silver medalist. Has that sunk in yet?
Yeah, no, I don't think it's quite sunk in yet what's happened. I still am struggling to find the right way to phrase it. But for me, one of the massive things is I feel extremely proud of what I've achieved and the fact that I could hopefully inspire so many people. The amount of support on social media and the amount of people who have been posting pictures of them doing something that they wouldn't have done the day before, having not watched the mixed relay or my individual races. Yeah, just something really special, and that I feel really proud of that.
The reaction has been incredible. You used the word inspiration. At the weekend, we went and spoke to some members of your club in Crystal Palace. Have a look at what they said.
The whole thing was very exciting, especially the cycling part, because they were neck and neck pretty much towards the end. And luckily Alex Yee did an amazing transition, so he got out first.
Everyone was very good and they saved like the best to last. So.
Yeah. That was Alex Yee?
Yeah.
He kind of inspires me, and I hope I will be able to run faster than him.
What do you make of that, Alex?
Oh, that just makes me feel incredibly proud. Crystal Palace is where I started my triathlon endeavours, and yeah, like those guys, I was just doing it for the love of it and the enjoyment, and I think anything can happen at that point, and it's just brilliant to see those guys so inspired, and yeah, feel extremely proud to be able to do that, like I guess the Brownlees did for me.
One of the kids there was talking about saving the best till last. They're talking about the mixed relay. You were doing the final stretch. You have the weight of the team on your shoulders. What was going through your head in that final few moments?
Honestly, my first emotion when I crossed the line was relief. The first three guys had done such an incredible job in their respective legs, and I just wanted to do their performances justice. And at points in the race, it was definitely hit or miss what would happen in the race. But I'm just incredibly proud that we could do the become Olympic champions. And I'm really pleased that so many people enjoyed the event so much, especially it being the first time it had been shown at the Olympic Games.
We were all rooting for you. So what's next, Alex, then? Big night out, holiday, you've earned everything.
Oh, I'd absolutely love to, but unfortunately, not unfortunately. Fortunately, I've still got my final race, which is the grand final, which will decide the world champion for this year. And it's looking like it's hopefully going to be me versus the Olympic champion in the individual race this year. So it will be another great showdown, and I'm really excited for it.
So no rest at all. I guess that's what marks you out as being a champion. Alex, thank you so much and good luck with your next race.
Thank you very much for having me.
Such a nice man. I can't believe he's not taking a holiday, but there you are. There'll be plenty more on Team GB's medal rush on the ITV News at 6:30, as well as the rest of the day's stories. Here's a look ahead with Charlene.
Coming up, the shocking rise in drugs deaths. England and Wales record their highest numbers since records began, up 60% in the past decade. We'll explore what's behind it. Also ahead, 200 death threats a day. The girlfriend of England star Jack Grealish on her turmoil over social media trolls. And the wind in their sails. Team GB's best day at the Olympics so far. Join us for all that and plenty more from 6:30.
Sally's here now with me. Sally, the sun came out today. Can we expect more of that?
Well, tomorrow is probably the best of the next few days. So I don't know if you're feeling inspired by all these athletes you've been speaking to, Duncan. Maybe a run?
A little shuffle around the block, not a triathlon, I've got to say.
Love to see that. Anyway, and then it all slightly goes downhill as we go through Thursday. And then it eases up again as we go through Sunday. Now, there are tentative signs at the moment that as we go into next week, there's a bit more high pressure, so things are a little bit more settled, and it could well warm up a touch as well. Confidence is a bit low, but hopefully that's how it's looking. So, more running for you.
Good, I think. Bad.
Get those trainers on, Duncan. We can't wait to see it. Let's take a look at the full forecast and keep everything crossed.
Making the most of it, whatever the weather. Octopus Energy sponsors ITV London weekday weather.
Well, the weather's not too bad at the moment if you're managing to dodge the showers. It's kind of make the most of the little nuggets like this, really, isn't it? And then tomorrow we've got some more sunny spells at times, still the odd scattered, perhaps slightly heavy shower, but it does turn more unsettled as we head into the latter part of Thursday and Friday. So back to the detail for tonight. Any showers fading, not too bad to end the day. The cloud clearing, and with these clear skies and light winds overnight, just gives an opportunity for a bit of mist to form, perhaps to the south of Greater London. And it's going to be a little bit chilly tonight, perhaps out in the countryside, a little bit cooler than that. The temperature's getting down into single figures. But we do start tomorrow on a fairly nice note. There'll be some sunshine breaking through, a bit of cloud, Again, a few showers brewing as we head through the day, and the odd isolated one could be maybe a bit heavy and thundery, but many areas staying dry. And where we get a bit of sunshine, a little bit warmer than today, getting up to 22 or 23 degrees. Those are the highs. And if you're heading out tomorrow evening, rather like this evening, most areas staying dry, just the odd shower to clear away as we head through the evening. Now, there'll be a bit more cloud building up as we go through into Thursday. The most part of Thursday is not too bad, possibly a few showers, but we have got some rain moving on in later on the day on Thursday into Friday. Friday looking quite unsettled with the chance of some thunderstorms and heavy downpours. Again, unsettled for Saturday, but easing into Sunday. That's the weather. Let's take a look at the pollen.
Octopus Energy sponsors ITV London weekday weather.
Hello, summer. Piri sponsors ITV Pollen Count.
Good news for hay fever sufferers. We're coming to the end of the grass pollen season. Still a bit of weed pollen around, but the levels are low for the next few days. That's your full forecast for now.
Now then, Sally, for the last week you've been croaking your way through the forecasts.
You noticed?
Someone points you to a stage with a spotlight and you come over all Mariah Carey. What's going on?
Oh my goodness, I mean, I couldn't help it, Duncan. So Jersey Boys is back on in the West End. I mean, if you haven't heard Jersey Boys, I've got the list of songs here. Begging you, Sherry, walk like a man, big girls. I mean, I could go on and on.
Got a bassy thing going on there.
I'm going to bottle this and then back to the squawk. Anyway, so they're back on in the West End, and I was very lucky and went to go and see and meet the crew and cast today. Let's take a look. It is home to some of the greatest hits. Sherry, Sherry baby. And bringing it back to the West End, a brand new cast. Who were rehearsing today exclusively for us. Jersey Boys tells the story of Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. The prelim shows have apparently seen a culture-starved audience applauding for a deliciously longer than normal amount of time.
Went on for ages. Yeah, it's probably a bit my fault because the next cue's from me, so the whole show can't move until I give a certain cue.
And you were just loving it.
They were just screaming at us, and I was like, I'm not moving, I'll stand here. I'll just take it.
Yeah, we worked hard.
Yeah, it was great. So it's like, I did milk it a little bit, but I think we enjoyed it, didn't we?
I think you learned it.
My eyes adore you, though I never laid a hand on you. My eyes adore you.
It's hard to believe that Ben and his beautiful voice, who plays Frankie Valli, is only 21 and hasn't even graduated. I mean, we were teasing you earlier saying you've just done your GCSEs, but I mean, you are incredibly young and you haven't graduated.
Yeah, I'm graduating September, coming now, and yeah, I feel very lucky, and I've said all the way through the process, like, so much gratitude.
While Ben was studying during lockdown, the others had to take on a variety of jobs just to make ends meet.
Well, I was actually really lucky, actually, and mine's, I'm going to sound like a bit of an idiot, but I actually managed to film a few episodes of Emmerdale.
No, that's amazing.
Yeah, so I think I was one of the only few actors actually able to work.
It wasn't quite as glamorous for Carl, but he took on delivery driving for Asda in his own unique style. Yeah. Were you singing in the van?
I was singing in the van every day. Every day. I think they could hear me coming. They were like, "Oh, there's my delivery. Okay, Carl's on the way."
Everyone's flying from Asda now just to get you to turn up.
Yeah.
And if you ever bump into one of these guys, I have a great tip for getting a little tune out of them. Can't remember how Who Loves You goes.
Yeah.
Who loves you, pretty baby?
Oh my
goodness.
Was so good. Yeah, sing it, come on.
Oh God, I'm rocking out now. Sorry, everyone. And finally, if they had to sum up the show in one word, here's how they do it.
Heart.
Soul.
Yeah. Escape.
Yeah. It's all on you, Carl.
I can't do one word. It's just going to be amazing. Oh, what a night.
Very good, very good. The show opens officially next week, and what a night that will be indeed.
Thank you, Sally, and to the Jersey boys. And that is all we've got time for. Charlene's next with the evening news, and we'll be back after news at 10. Until then, enjoy your evening.